That's not good. Okay, so this might be a PSA. This is like a public service announcement. When you're building your beehive frames, you really shouldn't drink beer. Maybe you should. All right, so today I am preparing for spring. Again, I'm building frames. I've got 100 of these that I've got to get done. I don't know how the audio is going to sound. I'm not wearing the lav mic, but I am in the basement shop, so there shouldn't be too much ancillary noise flying around here. But got to get ready for spring. I've already finished building 2 bases and painting 2 lids. We're going to have a purple and an orange hive added to the apiary this spring to go with the red, the yellow, the green, and the blue. I can see them, they're out there. But right now I've got 100 frames that I've got to build. So let me get after it. You're going to notice I'm not using my TightBond III. It's because I have very little left, and I stopped by Ace Hardware and they had Gorilla Glue, so I'm going to give this a try today. If it's any good, I'll put a link to it in the description below so that you can get yourself some on Amazon. It'll probably be cheaper on Amazon. I'll also put a link to TightBond. I really like the TightBond myself. That's the glue of choice, but I don't know how this is going to work out. We'll find out probably next year. Because that's how long I'll have to wait before I can find out whether or not these frames held up. So, with that said, I've got to get going on this pile. If I don't start, I will never finish. That's kind of the way with that's kind of a metaphor for life, isn't it? If you don't start, you won't finish. So it's like water dripping on the stone. Eventually I'll break that stone, but it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been working all day long preparing for spring, and now here I am putting frames together. So I will get on it, keep these things rolling, and hopefully by tomorrow when my foundation shows up, these will be built and dried. Oh, you're still here. Well, thanks how you're still here. We'll continue the conversation. So when I started beekeeping last year, I didn't realize there was going to be so much work involved. Now, that work is worth it. I don't want to give you the wrong idea. However, I didn't realize there was going to be so much work involved. I put my hive together last year. I built a foundation for it. I put it out there and I put the bees in. And I worked all summer long feeding the bees, making pollen patties, putting those on, taking the honey out of the hive, making sure that the bees' hives were split so that I wouldn't lose them all in a swarm. But then came winter. Of course, I built the hive heaters. We've already done videos on those. That was some work. Started a YouTube channel. That's some work. Making videos. Making the videos isn't hard. It's editing the videos that's tough. Actually, editing the videos and talking to this camera is tough. However, I did not realize last year what I am starting to realize this year is that there's a lot of work involved. Last year I had 2 hives. At the end of the season I had 4 hives. This year I'm going to have 6 hives. And every time you add a hive, you have to prepare boxes, both deep and medium supers for the honey. You have to have some sort of a base for them to sit on. You have to finish them either with paint or with varnish. You have to build frames, put foundation in the frames. If you're one who uses foundation, you may just put wires in your frames or let the bees build right on this and do some comb honey. But there's a lot of work involved in beehives. More than I thought. Again, I don't want to scare anybody off. It's a lot of fun. It's a very neat hobby. And the best part about it is you get a lot of honey that you get to share with your family and friends. I've shared a lot of honey. I'm actually down to my last 2 pints of honey right now. Can't wait until the bees get going again and produce some more so that I can give it away. Sold a little bit of it. People do like to buy natural honey, I'll tell you that. That was something that surprised me. And something else that surprised me is the difference in the taste of natural honey versus store-bought honey. The store-bought honey just does not taste as good as the natural honey. I don't know why. Well, actually, I think I do know why. I think the store-bought honey has been homogenized. I think when you have the store-bought honey, you have honey from 1,000 beehives all mixed together to create 1 jar of honey. And let me tell you, one of the big benefits of honey is the pollen, right? Because something that I noticed, and if you have your own bees, you've noticed, is that when you eat the honey from your own hives, if you suffer from allergies or hay fever due to pollen, that really doesn't affect you as much as it did before you started eating honey. So that is a bonus. All that said, there is still a ton of work required to get ready for the honey season. I've still got to, after I'm done building all of the boxes and frames and staining and finishing everything, I've still got to make pollen patties or a pollen feeder and get that out there so that the bees have an ample source of pollen so that they can rear brood, so that they can collect nectar, so that I can harvest honey. There's really a lot that goes into this. But again, don't let me scare you off. It's more than worth it. It's been an interesting adventure thus far. I've been stung a handful of times. But I'll tell you something else that's neat about getting stung. You didn't think there was anything neat about getting stung. Let me tell you. After about the first, I don't know, 5 stings last year, I stopped reacting to the stings. Now, the stings still hurt, don't get me wrong, but I don't swell up like I used to. I don't get a big welt. The first couple of times I got stung, not only could I feel it, I could feel it for a couple of days. Now, when I get stung, knock on wood, now when I get stung, I feel it. It hurts. I don't think the pain's ever going to stop. It hurts, but it only hurts for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then it's like it never happened. This is going to take forever. So if you've watched this far in the video, I think it's safe to say that it's important when you're doing this kind of work. I mean, let me tell you, this is strenuous. It's important to stay hydrated. Now, I've recently started following somebody who I think does a great job on their YouTube channel. He's a guy from my neck of the woods. I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio. And this guy is from, I believe, Northwest Ohio. And I like everything about him and everything about his channel. It's very good. I've watched all of his videos. But the one thing I just can't get my mind around, and I try, he drinks Busch Light. I don't understand it. I mean, I'm sure it's a good beer, but come on. I mean, even Gas Monkey Garage, get you some of that. You know, Miller Lite. Not a paid endorsement, but good beer nonetheless. See, most of the people who tuned out 10 minutes ago have no idea we're talking about beer and not bees. But it's like the bonus footage on a movie. After the movie's over, they run the credits and you get to see some of the bonus footage. That's what we're talking about here. Beer. We've moved from bees to beer. And that generally happens when you are doing something as tedious and mundane as putting frames together. But anyways, let me give a shout out to the guy I started following because he has a really good channel. And he does have bees, but he does more than bees. He does a lot of stuff. But I tell you what, one thing that he does do that I really like is he does some neat editing on his videos. His YouTube channel is called Schick Happens. The assumption is his last name is Schick. And I think he's playing off the shit happens scenario. However, he seems to be a good guy and has a great channel. He has a lot of followers. More than I have. I've got 30, but I appreciate every one of you, well, 31 subscribers. We're going to continue to add onesie twosie, one at a time, until we have 1 million. Actually, I'm just glad that I have people interested in raising bees and seeing how I do it. My goal this year is to really increase my honey production. Now, last year we harvested quite a bit of honey for first-year beekeepers. A lot of beekeepers don't harvest any honey at all. However, I made the controversial decision to not leave any honey on the hives this year. And I did not leave any honey at all on the hives. The bees have not eaten honey at all this winter. What they have eaten is sugar water. I've provided a lot of sugar water for the bees. So they have food, they're not starving. I can't remember exactly who it was that said that it is almost better to put your bees through the winter with sugar water as opposed to honey, because it is a much more concentrated sugar, which it is, I believe. There's much more sugar in 2-to-1 sugar syrup than I believe there is in honey. But it's a better source of energy for the bees and cleaner for the bees. I guess they don't get dysentery or whatever when they're eating sugar water. I don't know for sure. This is just what I've heard, seen videos. I mean, we're all experts on YouTube, right? No, I'm not an expert, to be honest with you. However, I heard that and it sounded reasonable to me. I mean, it's a sugar water has a lot of carbohydrates in it, a lot of energy for the bees. It should keep them going, and thus far it has. So I harvested all of the honey from the hives last year, which is fine, I guess. Wife and I have enjoyed it. My neighbors and friends have enjoyed the honey. Poor bees have worked all year round and actually got nothing for it. But then again, if they like the honey or the sugar water better than the honey, they've scored. So let's see here. I guess I can share with you my most influential YouTube channels. Share with you where I've learned what I've learned. Now I hope this doesn't mean when I do this that you go and watch them. Well, actually I do want you to watch them because they're really good beekeepers. They provide a lot of good information, but I hope it doesn't mean that you don't come back and visit my channel and see what's going on. I hope that you do. I hope that you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. However, some of the folks that I watch, one guy who's really good, his name is Devan Rawn. Now, he hasn't put a video out in over a year, and I don't know why. Well, I imagine it's a lot of work, and he seems to be a very busy beekeeper. But I've really gotten a lot of information out of this guy, and he does a great job. He has a great channel, and I don't know whether he looks at YouTube videos or would follow me, but I tell you, he is a very wise man. He knows what he's doing, and he shared something that I thought was very, very interesting, and that may be where I heard that you should only feed your bees sugar water during the winter. I can't say for certain that he's the guy who said that, but seems like it could have been him. But I've received a lot of good information from this guy. Devan Rawn, he's a beekeeper out of Canada, really, really good guy. He has a great channel. It hasn't been updated in a year, but he has a lot of good videos, how-to videos. And I've gone there and I've gotten a lot of good information from him. Another beekeeper out there that does a great job transmitting knowledge, someone who I've followed since my beekeeping journey has begun, was a gentleman named Frederick Dunn. Really, really good guy. Now, he's a very talented man. He does more than just bees. He I would classify him as an expert beekeeper. He has a lot of good information. He does live streams where he will answer questions. Now, of course, I'll answer questions too, but I don't have the knowledge base that this man has. He has a lot of good information. I can only answer questions to what I've learned thus far, and I'm very confident in what I've learned thus far. So anything that would have happened in the first year of beekeeping, put a question down in the comments below, and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. But Frederick Dunn is a really good beekeeper. He has a lot of good information. And that's someone else that you can follow. Who else? Now this is a guy who I follow, and I started following this guy before I started keeping bees, and he made me believe that I could do this. I really probably wouldn't have become a beekeeper if it hadn't been for this gentleman. He was going through his first year and 2 and 3 and 4 of beekeeping, and letting it all hang out, all the mistakes and everything that he made, and it really inspired me to start keeping bees. He also has a nice drama, a good series going with his bees. Right now he's building a barn. He's not got any new bee videos out, but he's up north. I think he's in Massachusetts or somewhere thereabouts. So it's winter. He doesn't have the luxury of being able to get out here in the in February and have 50 and 60 degree days where he can actually get out and deal with his bees. However, he does a great job. His channel is called Vino Farm. If you haven't found him on the internet or on YouTube, I highly recommend that you look for Vino Farm. He does a great job not only raising his bees, but explaining what it is he's doing and how he's doing it and why he's doing it. And I tell you what, he just seems like an average guy, just like the rest of us. And he's done a great job with his bees. And had I not found him, I may not have even taken this up. Hopefully, throughout this process, teach my children of the joy of nature. I have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and they are in danger of falling into the same trap that most of, I don't want to say America's kids, but most of the kids in the world are falling into right now. They spend their days looking at their phone. And what I want is I want my children to come outside and live life. And if I can show them the joy of living life by doing a YouTube channel that deals with bees and nature and building things and being creative, I feel like that will go a long way at doing my job as a father. So that's another reason I do this. Now, would I love to be a YouTube star and have millions of subscribers and even make some money at this? Let me tell you, that would be wonderful. Do I think that it's going to happen? I'm not counting on it. But what I am counting on, is making some good videos, making some good friends, and showing my children and anybody who tunes in that you can do this. It is possible. And not only is it good for you, because you'll get outside, you will reconnect with nature, you will get honey, you will pollinate your garden, you will pollinate your neighbor's garden, you will pollinate the trees. I think you will live a rich and fulfilled life. Isn't that the goal? The goal is not sitting in a chair with your head down at a phone all day long. YouTube is a great resource. A lot of good information out here, and a lot of people willing to teach you that information. And I hope that some of the things that I do will fall into that category. If I can teach a couple of people a couple of things, I feel like I've done a good job. Well, I've talked enough. I'm going to put on some music and get back to work. If I have anything interesting to say, or if I have an epiphany, I'll come back and it's unlikely that you're still there, it's unlikely that you stayed with me the entire time. However, we have just assembled 100 frames. Now tomorrow, I've got to put 100 foundations in the 100 frames, and then I've got to build 10 more medium supers to put the 100 frames in. And then I've got to sand, stain, and finish those 10 medium supers. However, that said, we've gotten a lot of work done today toward preparing for bee season 2020. So thank you for watching this far along in the video, if you have. Thanks a lot for sticking with me. I'm going to continue to prepare for bee season 2020, and I will see you next time. Thanks for sticking around. I don't know whether I would have stuck around, but thank you for sticking around. Do me a favor, hit the like, the subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll try to post decent length videos and videos that don't take so long next time. See you around. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Now here's something interesting. Now this is a 10 frame bottom board. It's kind of odd, isn't it? Considering I use 8 frame hives. I don't do 10 frame hives, so why would I have this? You'll have to stick around and see. Future episode. But I've got an idea. I'll share it with you. I've got an idea. I'm just not going to share it now.